we're here today on New Brighton Beach in the Wirral. Alan's came down to see me today, and Alan is one of the biggest child abuse survivors in the UK that's never been listened to, that's never had justice, that's fought for years and years on the streets campaigning. Me and Alan go back 10 years, don't we, Al? 10, 12 years on the streets. Campaigning with whistles, megaphones, foghorns, pans, pots, anything we could find, really. So when these politicians are saying, we've got no abuse going on because there's there's nothing there. We've been basically threatened and told to go away. Otherwise we will face criminal proceedings against us. So, they've been threatening everyone. But anyway, Alan's come down to discuss about Beach Home. So I'd just like to let Alan, so what happened in Beach Home? So what is the very first memory you remember of going through this process?
That I was born in London, West 12. I was the last of four. Got three other siblings, Margie, two sisters, Anne and Margie, and Frank, my brother. And I was the youngest. There was 5 years difference between me and my oldest sister, 3 years between my second sister Margie, a year between me and my brother Frank. So I was kind of like the run of the litter between zero, and we lived in just off the Goldhawk Road in Shepherd's Bush. So council house, but we were taken into care on numerous occasions. I think from 0 to 6, I was in 5 different children's homes from the age of 0 to 6. It's called respite care. So what they did is they deemed it necessary for you to be taken away from your parents for a bit of respite care, they called it. Whether it was that or not is a completely different thing. I don't remember.
Did your parents have to pay for the respite care?
I believe there is a fee of somewhere where it's talked about 5 pence or a shilling was made to social services. So some sort of arrangement was made with social services. I'm sure there's a place called Cobb's House or somewhere like that, or there's somewhere in Westminster, and I think it stems back to somewhere in Westminster where this fee was paid into. I think there is a little bit of history into it which we can dive into, but I'm sure if you go back into when people used to pay for social services for looking after kids, I think it's still in the archive somewhere. But my mum and dad were both alcoholics, so they would go to public houses and drink, and we were left out in the streets to play. Our streets were our playgrounds, and we'd stand outside the pub as long as our parents were in there drinking and getting drunk and that. And it was kind of like an awful existence because we was out in the streets quite a bit. We were street kids. Go on.
I was going to say, with the respite care, did your mum get her money's worth?
I wouldn't have thought so, no, because at the end of the day, none of us knew what was going on with, going in and out of care. I think I remember being in a place with my sister Anne called Oakley Street. I was in Oakley Street with my sister Anne, and I remember that one. But you remember certain parts of it, with the history of it, of the buildings and old buildings and stuff like that, and you remember how symbolic they were, regimental things in rows, like all the dormitories, the sinks all in a row, sort of Edwardian kind of Georgian Victorian places and establishments that the council used to use to house children. So I remember 2 or 3 of them in my early ages, but I don't know what happened so much. The only thing I remember is when I went to court when I was 6 years of age. Now, I went before a juvenile court, a judge in Marylebone Magistrates Court on the Marylebone-Euston Road. And I went down there, and a judge looked down at me and said, to this little boy standing before him, he said, "Would you like to go to the seaside, sonny boy?" Now, this young child is 6 years of age, and he can just about speak, and learning how to speak, let alone how to think for himself, is a completely different matter.
Can we just hang on a minute, Alan? Just pause this a minute, 2 seconds. Hello? Yeah, what's up? No, I'm on the beach interviewing Alan. Go on then, babe. Probably. But don't worry. Go on then, baby. See you soon. Cha 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 cha. So we'll clip and edit this, yeah? So, sorry about that, Alan. So, go on, carry on what we say.
So this judge is looking down at a 6-year-old child and saying to the 6-year-old child, would you like to go to the seaside, sonny boy? I'm looking up as a child, 6-year-old child, and I'm looking at the symbols, like the unicorn with the horn out of his head. I mean, what's this horse with his horn out of his head? What is the symbolic stuff of all this? What is the crown? What does it all stand for? What does it all mean? What does the chains around, was it the lion's or the unicorn's leg, which is something to do with patriotism, or the peasants and the uprising and so on and so on, or it could go back to the Magna Carta. And then I'm looking at these gates and all the all the emblems of what it's supposed the establishment's all about. And this judge is promising a young guy my age, 6-year-old, lying to a boy of my age, a 6-year-old kid, a baby still, basically. Probably couldn't even read or write at that age. Do you know what I mean?
What did the judge say to you, Al?
He just turned around and said, "Would you like to go to the seaside, sonny boy?" And he's looking down at his arms.
So you thought you were going to the seaside?
Yeah, I thought I was going to the seaside.
Did you go to the seaside?
No.
Where did you go?
They put me in a children's home. Bearing in mind I'd been in 4 or 5 respite children's homes prior to this. I went to